Some silences travel across countries and generations. These silences are passed on and exchanged among first, second and third generation Punjabi Sikhs living in Kent in the United Kingdom. This is about keeping quiet, being quiet, losing voice, feeling alone, being othered, and the heavy weight of silence as a response to stigma and racism, especially in the so-called sandwich generation, Sikhs whose parents migrated from India to England and whose children were born in England and identify as Asian, Indian, Sikh and British. The silencing is both individual and collective, and the silences are often overwhelmingly loud.
It's a beautiful, beautiful instrument. I am going to take it to a shop, trying to see if I can sort of revive it a little bit.
Lots of Indians, they keep in their cell, in there, and they don't tell anybody, you know. They keep inside.
What I was trying to say, I said we are the, like you said, we are the sandwich generation.
Yeah.
What we've established today is what I'm thinking is we've know that there's a big problem in this generation, right? So we need to sort this generation out, that we can help our elders, and in 10 years' time, we don't have a generation which is completely mentally disturbed. And it's a very big problem. And it will happen because we are all going through it. We don't say it.
Nobody
right?
knows what somebody's going through.
Yeah.
I struggled with mental health. I didn't talk about it. I didn't actually know that it was happening. I think it was a slow process. One day I went to the doctors and he gave me medicine. But my husband was dead against me taking it. And there's always like a stigma against taking it. And the stigma is if you start taking it, you'll never come off. And when you can't come off, then you'll commit suicide. And I struggled a lot. But that's the stigma. You don't take medicine for mental health. But I'm not embarrassed to say I was on a lot of medicine. I took antidepressants, anxiety pills, sleeping pills. In Indians, they will never admit. I will talk about my story and say that I was very ill, and I'm very proud to say I'm now recovered. But Asian girls, even my age, think it's really embarrassing. They think that you're weak. And Asians don't like to be weak. We have a lot of upkeep to do, like in the community. You have your house, your money, your status, your business. You have to be happily married. You have to have normal children that have to do well at school. There's all sorts of things.
Do you talk about this in this community?
No, they think it's embarrassing.
Sorry, it's going to upset me. It's the guilt I've been carrying. For over 60 years. As a child, you don't realise, you don't understand the mental issues people have. In the courtyard where we were, there used to be an old man. He was their caretaker, next door's caretaker. Very simple man. We used to taunt him. Pull his leg, do something, or do something like that. Really upset him, And to us, it was funny. And when I think about it now, from not just today talking to you now, and now I'm hoping, by talking to you, it leaves my pain a little bit, is that I feel so guilty what I did, but you did it as a group of people, you don't realise. And it's instances like that. And the other thing is, within the community, it's a taboo subject. It's beginning, people living in these countries now are realising, but even now, there are many people, depending what generation and things like that, still find it taboo. They still find it very hard to talk.
No one ever really talks about their mental health problems. I think it's a flaw maybe a flaw is the wrong word. It's just something that's not done. Like if your granddad doesn't speak about them, and then my dad, for example, my parents, I don't think I've ever seen them say like, I was depressed during this period, or even discuss it. Maybe they were, and they just didn't discuss it with me. So actually, for me, I've never seen people open up about mental health. So actually, why would I then be inclined to open up about mental health if actually it's a generational thing? I think from my understanding of talking to my grandparents and my parents, that they were the generation who had it much harder than me. I think me growing up, I was in that lucky generation where actually I experienced some of it, maybe the name calling and being picked on individually, but I don't think I had the being spat on and being beaten up just for being different.
I remember where I was going to go to school, I went with my mum, and when I walked in, it was this huge building with loads of stairs, and I walked up it with my mum, and I just remember my heart beating really loudly, and my mum saying to me, "Why are you so out of breath?" And she said, "Why are you running up the steps? You're getting out of breath," she said to me in Punjabi. And I remember thinking, it's because I'm scared. But I don't want to say that to my mum. I think a lot has changed without saying. A lot has improved without effort. Because the generation, my children's generation, they accept coloured people because they're born with them. We were not seen as people who came here to help them to earn a living. We were seen as people who were taking over their country, and they didn't want us here. They didn't like the way we dressed. They didn't like the way we smelt. They didn't like the way we spoke. Walking down the street, we wouldn't speak out aloud in Punjabi. If they can't speak English, then they just didn't speak. They were too scared.
In secondary school, we had a hard time. They would kick you, they spit at you, they call you all sorts of names, So you're always avoiding certain areas. Anyway, one of them said, "Oh, come on, all right, have a go. Okay, here's the door." So I picked up the door, put it around my neck, and started playing the chal. Okay, it's a very basic beat. As soon as I play that, it would pin drop silent. See, first they didn't think that I could, because I was an Indian, I could play any of those things. He used to say, "Okay, the next beat I want you to play is to be din tana tana na tana tana 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 din tana tana na."
You experienced a lot of racism? At that time, yes. Okay. It was a lot of racism. Well, nobody would talk to you, first of all, and nobody would have you next to you at that time. So I had to sit on my own. Yeah. So I went through that. Yeah. My heart used to thump. Yeah. I've had counselling myself because I started to lose speech. Twice I lost my speech. Yeah, you're aware. Yeah. And I was never aware that stress can cause that much of a loss in body. And even when I talk now, like I talk, I know that, afterwards I have to be quiet. Yeah.
Thank you to all the Punjabi Sikhs who live in Kent in the United Kingdom and who spoke so generously about their silences. These recordings were taken from ongoing ethnographic fieldwork by anthropologist Lisa Dikomitis and psychiatrist Suki Shergill. This research would not have been possible without funding from the University of Kent and the clinical research network Kent, Surrey and Sussex. Editing and production was done by Elena Dikomitis from Studio De Noc. Thanks for listening.